Life is like the cycle of the 4 seasons. Some people bloom like flowers in spring, walking toward a bright future. Others, like snow in winter, slowly face the moment when they must melt away. When those 2 seasons cross, maybe we do not have to see only sadness. Nothing in this world lasts forever. Spring is always waiting around the corner. When the flowers bloom again, life will keep moving, and we have to remember to face it with a smile. This is the healing Japanese drama When Spring Comes. In Tokyo, a father and daughter are about to face 2 major turning points in life. On New Year's Day, both of them have important news to share. After pushing each other to speak first, the daughter, Hitomi Shiina, finally announces that she plans to get married on her birthday. For her father, Masahiko Shiina, this feels like a thunderbolt. It gets even worse when he learns the man she wants to marry is 10 years older than her, has unstable work, and calls himself a comedian. Masahiko rejects the idea immediately. Ever since his wife died more than 20 years ago, Masahiko has raised Hitomi alone. He finally watched her grow into an adult, only for her to choose a man he sees as completely unreliable. During the argument, Masahiko reveals his own news. He has cancer. He has less than 3 months left. Hitomi does not believe him. She thinks he made it up just to stop the wedding. To win her father's approval, Hitomi decides to have her boyfriend, Kazuma Kawakami, meet him earlier than planned. Maybe once they meet, Masahiko will change his mind. That night, Hitomi comes home from work as a midwife and finds Masahiko watching Kazuma's comedy performance online. Maybe love makes people see things differently, because Hitomi thinks Kazuma is wonderful. Masahiko thinks the performance is terrible. How could a man like that ever give his daughter a stable future? Hitomi does not care about her father's opposition. She has already made a wish list for the time before the wedding. Then she hears from her aunt that when she was younger and rebellious, Masahiko once lied about his own parents having cancer to stop her from dyeing her hair. That makes Hitomi even more convinced that his cancer story is another lie. The next day, she comes home and finds him drinking beer while cooking dinner, full of energy. He does not look sick at all. To expose the lie, she asks him to name the hospital and doctor. Masahiko really gives her both. Still suspicious, Hitomi takes time off work and goes to the hospital. There, the doctor confirms it. Masahiko has cancer, and it has already spread to his bones. Out of 100 people with his condition, maybe only 2 or 3 are successfully cured. Masahiko does not believe he is one of the lucky ones. He does not want to waste his remaining time on treatment. He wants to live these final 3 months in a way that feels alive. For Hitomi, the news lands like a heavy blow. She cannot accept that her cheerful father may soon be gone. That afternoon at work, the doctor's words keep echoing in her mind. To persuade Masahiko to accept treatment, she tries to guide him gently by talking about a baby she helped deliver. Masahiko explains that he began going to the hospital for back pain in September, and the diagnosis became final in December. Once he knew, he refused treatment. He had seen a coworker suffer terribly during cancer treatment. With such limited time left, he wants to spend it happily instead. Hitomi begs him with everything she has. Even if he will not do it for himself, he should try treatment for her. But Masahiko is stubborn, almost like a child. He acts as if it does not matter. Maybe even in front of death, this father does not want his sadness to infect his daughter. Hitomi does not know what to do, so she tells Kazuma. Kazuma gently says they should postpone the wedding. In the limited time Masahiko has, being with family is more important. With his agreement, Hitomi calls and cancels the wedding venue. She is disappointed, but some things matter more than personal happiness. Then something changes her mind. Kazuma has a comedy performance, and Masahiko secretly attends after seeing the announcement online. Halfway through the act, Masahiko stands up and starts criticizing the performance in front of everyone. He even announces that he does not approve of their marriage. At that moment, a little boy stands up and says his father's performance is already very hardworking. Masahiko is stunned. Kazuma is raising a son, Ryunosuke. That makes Masahiko even more determined to oppose the marriage. Hitomi cannot hold back anymore. Her father does not understand Kazuma, yet he humiliates him in public. Furious, she changes her mind again and declares in front of everyone that she will absolutely get married on March 25th. Father and daughter are now caught in a strange countdown. One plans to die in 3 months. The other insists she will marry in 3 months. To fight back, Masahiko creates his own wish list of things he wants to do before he dies. Both father and daughter are stubborn, but Hitomi is still thinking of him. She searches online for successful cancer treatment cases, hoping to persuade him. Masahiko, however, insists his life is fine as it is. Even in his 60s, he still works at a supermarket. With his lively sales skills, he is always the top seller of the month. His supervisor praises him so much that he jokes Masahiko should stay at the store forever. For Masahiko, the feeling of being needed and valued is the best medicine. He knows Hitomi wants the best for him, but he has decided not to treat the cancer. When the pain comes, he believes painkillers are enough. He does not want his daughter stuck on the illness, so he shows her his wish list. At first, he had written more than 100 items. After trimming it down, only 6 remain. The first is to go to Izu and see the ocean. Hitomi does not understand why. If someone wants to see the sea, Okinawa seems like the more obvious choice. The second wish is to apologize to a man named Kami-sama. Hitomi is surprised to learn her father has a friend with such a strange nickname. But when she asks why he needs to apologize, Masahiko refuses to explain. The third is even stranger. A man in his 60s wants to play at an amusement park like a child. The rest of the wishes are just as hard for Hitomi to understand. But looking at the list gives her an idea. If she keeps insisting on marrying Kazuma, maybe Masahiko will accept treatment just to stop her. Her prediction works. Masahiko adds another item to his list. Stop Hitomi from marrying Kazuma. Still, that is not enough. Hitomi learns from Kazuma that cancer patients may go through 5 emotional stages, and the final one is acceptance. Masahiko has only known about his illness for about a month, so she cannot understand how he reached acceptance so quickly. She decides she needs more help. Hitomi visits Masahiko's doctor, Abo. He is also surprised because he has never seen a patient in his 50s or 60s refuse treatment so decisively. Hitomi asks him to cooperate with her plan and help persuade Masahiko. She will keep using the wedding to pressure her father from behind the scenes. Abo wants to refuse, but Hitomi barely lets him speak. In the end, he agrees, because this is a daughter's desperate plan to save her father. To push Masahiko harder, Hitomi decides to make the wedding bigger. She wants to invite more than 50 guests, have Kazuma perform comedy at the ceremony, and even asks her aunt to help stage a performance for Masahiko. That night, Hitomi suggests that Masahiko and Kazuma have dinner together. Maybe, if they understand each other, things will change. Masahiko dislikes Kazuma, but for Hitomi's sake, he agrees. On the day of the meeting, Kazuma dresses carefully. Masahiko still criticizes him constantly. Kazuma's past is actually impressive. As a child, he was the kind of son other parents praised. He won awards and later entered the University of Tokyo. But by chance, he discovered comedy and realized it could bring smiles to people, so he left school to pursue that dream. Masahiko does not care how excellent Kazuma used to be. As a father, he cares only whether this man can make Hitomi happy now. A comedian with unstable work does not meet that standard. On top of that, Masahiko thinks his comedy is awful. What Masahiko does not know is that Hitomi is the one who first fell for Kazuma's kindness. After his ex-wife cheated and left, Kazuma still raised Ryunosuke alone while holding on to his dream. To Hitomi, that is admirable. Maybe that moves Masahiko a little. He lowers his demand. If Kazuma gives up comedy and gets a proper job, Masahiko will consider approving the marriage. Kazuma refuses without hesitation. Hitomi's aunt also stirs the situation, saying Masahiko will be gone in 3 months anyway, so what right does he have to control his daughter's future? The plan succeeds in making Masahiko angry enough to leave. But it does not make him accept treatment. His mind remains on his own wish list. That weekend, Hitomi goes with him to the coast of Izu. Standing before the wide ocean, she finally learns why the place matters so much. 41 years earlier, when Masahiko was a university student, this is where he met Hitomi's mother. This shoreline holds the beautiful beginning of their love. Hearing that makes Hitomi think of her own story with Kazuma. She once almost faced a lawsuit after an accident at the hospital. Although everything was resolved, the fear left a shadow over her. Then she saw Kazuma perform. His awkward but sincere comedy helped her through that dark time. Just like her parents' love, Hitomi's feelings for Kazuma are intense and stubborn. She wants her happiness to receive her father's blessing. Masahiko listens but does not answer. He only asks her to take a picture of him. The truth is, he already knows everything. He knows what Hitomi went through, but he still cannot accept the marriage. Life only contains a limited number of springs, summers, autumns, and winters. If he only has 3 months left, why should he spend them begging the heavens for 1 or 2 more painful years? He is afraid of death, but he wants freedom more. He wants to use his limited time to walk through one extraordinary final season with his daughter. Masahiko's body is gradually being eaten away by illness. Painkillers can only help for a while. When Hitomi sees him suffer an attack for the first time, the reality hits her hard. Late that night, after he falls asleep, Hitomi cannot calm down. Thinking about what he said by the sea, she finally understands what matters most to her right now. She changes several items on her own wish list. But one thing remains. She still wants to convince her father to approve the marriage. Soon, a major comedy competition called First is announced, and Kazuma plans to enter. Hitomi sees hope. If he gets a good result, maybe Masahiko will finally accept him. But the first round selects only 20 performers from 1,000 applicants. Kazuma has little confidence. Still, for Hitomi and their future, he gives it his best. After returning from Izu, Masahiko tells Dr. Abo about the sudden pain attack. While discussing his condition, he also learns that Hitomi came to the hospital earlier. With nowhere else to release his feelings, Masahiko explains why he opposes her marriage to Kazuma. Abo also has a daughter. After hearing about Kazuma, he takes Masahiko's side a little. But he also says that if Masahiko truly wants to see his daughter happy, he must stay alive. At the very least, he has to make it through these 3 months. Only the living can have a future. After that, Masahiko brings Hitomi to complete another wish, a trip to the amusement park. Hitomi worries about his health and invites Kazuma and Ryunosuke too. Masahiko is unhappy, but cannot refuse. The four of them spend the day together, almost like a family. At lunch, while Hitomi and Ryunosuke are away, Kazuma sincerely tells Masahiko how much he loves Hitomi. He even promises that he will win the first competition. Those words move Masahiko more than he admits, but his pride, his love for Hitomi, and his desire to test Kazuma keep him acting indifferent. That night, Masahiko sits alone in dim light and speaks to his late wife's photo. The amusement park was actually one of Hitomi's childhood wishes. Because he was busy working, he never had time to take her. Later, she grew up and no longer wanted to go with her father. Today, he finally took her. There were 2 extra people with them, but at least it was not too late. He and Hitomi now have one more memory together. Time passes quickly, and the first competition begins. Maybe love gives Kazuma strength, because he makes it through the first round. On the day of the second round, Masahiko pretends not to care, but secretly watches the live stream. Kazuma is nervous and loses. The failure makes him consider quitting comedy. He wants to marry the woman he loves, and he wants his future father-in-law's blessing. But his determination does not immediately bring happiness. As Masahiko completes more items on his wish list, Hitomi becomes more afraid. She begins to think her father's remaining time matters more than her own happiness. After thinking it through, she decides to postpone the wedding again. Masahiko has started to recognize Kazuma's effort, and he respects Kazuma's character more than before. Even so, he still cannot fully support the marriage. When he hears that Hitomi agreed to postpone it, he is surprised. That night, he lies awake and sighs. He is not as happy as he thought he would be. His condition keeps worsening. Every day, he takes more painkillers just to get through it. To keep Hitomi from worrying, he hides in the bathroom to take them, then comes out pretending nothing is wrong. One day, Hitomi brings up his second wish, apologizing to Kamisama. Masahiko does not even know where Kamisama lives now, but Hitomi finds his cafe through social media. Masahiko gets nervous. When they were in junior high, Kamisama liked a girl named Ogawa, but he was too shy to confess and asked Masahiko for help. Before Masahiko could do anything, Ogawa confessed to him instead. Teenage love is easy to fall into, and Masahiko ended up dating her behind his friend's back. They only dated for half a year, but Masahiko still feels guilty. The next day, he visits Kamisama's cafe and awkwardly apologizes. But Kamisama is not angry. Instead, he says he is the one who should apologize, then mentions a name Masahiko does not remember, Ishida. When Masahiko has no memory of it, Kamisama refuses to say more. The 2 old friends, reunited after many years, feel almost like strangers divided by a wall. That night, Masahiko tells Hitomi what happened. Hitomi senses there is another hidden story, so she takes him back to their old school. Walking through familiar streets, Masahiko sees that the old bakery has been demolished and replaced by a building. The bakery's name was Ishida. That wakes up his buried memory, but he still says nothing. Hitomi secretly visits Kami-sama and learns the truth. Back in junior high, older students dragged Kami-sama into smoking behind the bakery. He had barely lit a cigarette when they were caught, and in the panic, he ran away. Masahiko happened to pass by and was blamed instead. Masahiko was suspended for 2 weeks and lost the chance to enter his preferred high school. Kami-sama carried guilt for years and deliberately distanced himself from Masahiko. Hitomi realizes her father had already let go of this old pain. She arranges a meeting under the excuse of making a memory for him. The two old friends meet again. Kami-sama sincerely apologizes. Masahiko was not angry then, and he is not angry now. They shake hands and reconcile. Soon, they are laughing and playing in the classroom like boys again. People come into this world with nothing, and they leave with nothing. Why waste the little time left trapped in old knots? After that, Masahiko asks to meet Kishida, the funeral MC, and begins planning his own funeral. He speaks about it lightly, but to Hitomi, every word feels like a thorn. At the same time, she learns that Kazuma has truly quit comedy for her and is now working as a teacher at an education company. He has even become a full-time employee. Her feelings become more complicated. That night, she comes home and sees Masahiko planning funeral details. He even wants Kazuma to perform comedy at the funeral. Hitomi tells him Kazuma gave up his dream and took a stable job. Masahiko is not happy. Instead, he says that shows Kazuma lacks resolve. Only someone truly determined can walk through life with his daughter. Even though Kazuma did it for Hitomi and for Masahiko's approval, Masahiko cannot accept it. Kazuma has a child, an unstable past, and a future Masahiko still cannot trust. But heaven does not pause because of Masahiko's worries. His illness continues taking him. At night, he sits under a lamp, writing in his life notebook. When he reaches the page for words to the people he loves most, he freezes. It is not because he has nothing to say. It is because he has too much. How can one piece of paper hold everything? Then severe pain hits him, and he rushes to the bathroom, coughing up blood. He realizes his body may no longer be able to hold on. For the first time, he considers retiring. He loves his job, but spending time with Hitomi matters more now. That night, walking alone under the streetlights, Masahiko feels the sadness of his remaining time. Then he sees Ryunosuke alone. Because of work, Kazuma has neglected his son. Feeling lonely and hurt, Ryunosuke ran away from home. Luckily, Masahiko finds him. When Kazuma and Hitomi are searching everywhere, Masahiko calls them. After they return, he scolds them both. He also brings up Kazuma quitting comedy. Yes, Masahiko hated Kazuma's unstable career, but that does not mean Kazuma should give up. If Kazuma works hard, becomes a successful comedian, and proves himself, maybe Masahiko will approve. Giving up after making only a little progress is too wasteful. Masahiko's words are blunt, but they strike Hitomi's heart. She realizes she may be blocking Kazuma's dream. She wants to support the person she loves, but right now, her father is the person she cannot leave. If her existence is making Kazuma suffer, maybe it is time to end the relationship. She does not want to hurt her father, and she does not want Kazuma to live in pain, so she erases the last item on her wish list. Masahiko has technically achieved his wish of separating them, but he feels no joy. Does he really want to see his daughter lose happiness? He does not know how to comfort her, and he does not stop her. The next day, Hitomi tells Kazuma her decision. They both realize the wedding made them neglect the people most important to them. Maybe separating is best. Seeing how much Hitomi has sacrificed for him, Masahiko suddenly no longer wants to leave the world so easily. He goes to Dr. Abo and asks what would happen if he started treatment now. Abo admits it might help him live a little longer. But the side effects of anti-cancer drugs are severe, and given Masahiko's current condition, he may not withstand them. He is trapped either way. Since he has come this far, Masahiko decides to accept his path, just as he first chose. He resigns from work and tells his manager about his illness. He wants to choose a good day to leave the supermarket where he has worked for decades. Everyone is sad, but no one can stop him. At home, he learns Hitomi canceled the wedding. There is no smile on his face. He wants to comfort her but has no words. Hitomi and Kazuma both sink into sadness. Kishida, who has loved Hitomi for years, visits after hearing what happened. Hitomi knows he cares, but she does not want to show weakness. Still, the pressure inside her becomes too heavy. The next day at work, exhausted and overwhelmed, Hitomi collapses. Thankfully, it is nothing serious. but seeing his daughter hospitalized because of this breaks Masahiko's heart. Even if she says nothing, he understands her. So Masahiko makes a decision for her. On the day Hitomi is discharged, Masahiko insists on picking her up himself. He secretly prepares a surprise at home. When Hitomi opens the door, party poppers explode. Masahiko has organized a celebration. Her friends, her aunt, Kazuma, and Ryunosuke are all there. Seeing Kazuma again leaves Hitomi unsure what to do. Everyone reads the moment and quietly helps them reconnect. Even if love seems to end, there may be a chance to begin again. Masahiko tells them they should keep trying to win his approval. Everyone gathers around the table, warm and happy. When Ryunosuke calls Masahiko grandpa, Masahiko instinctively answers. Near the end of the gathering, everyone takes a group photo. After the guests leave, Masahiko stubbornly sends Hitomi, Kazuma, and Ryunosuke to rest while he cleans up. Listening to the three of them chatting like a family, he can almost see the happy future waiting for his daughter. Especially when he hears Kazuma promise that Hitomi's happiness is enough for him, Masahiko finally smiles. Late that night, he takes out his wish list and crosses off the item about breaking Hitomi and Kazuma apart. The next day, he tells Hitomi he approves. Hitomi is so stunned that she does not react with the excitement he expects. Masahiko changes the subject and asks about her wish list. When he sees that so many items are about him, including one about taking a trip together, he immediately decides they will go stargazing and camping. His body is not strong enough for such a trip. Even squeezing toothpaste now takes effort. But for his daughter, a father can do anything. With Masahiko's approval, Kazuma begins thinking about returning to comedy. Hitomi wants to meet and talk about the wedding, but Kazuma refuses. He has many things to figure out. Hitomi decides to use that time to complete her own wishes. She and her friend Minako go to a spa and take a cooking class. But Hitomi's real goal is to encourage Minako to chase her own love and confess to Kishida. Minako has already made her decision. Watching Hitomi and Masahiko reminded her that time is limited. She wants to live her own life. Seeing her friend let go of hesitation, Hitomi feels relieved and turns her heart fully towards spending time with Masahiko. On a bright weekend, father and daughter go to the countryside. They pick strawberries, enjoy the lakeside scenery, fish, and barbecue together. At night, under a sky full of stars, they sit by the fire. After everything, Masahiko does not want to leave this world yet. As a father, his greatest wish is to see Hitomi wear a wedding dress and step into happiness with his own eyes. Hitomi does not refuse. She nods. After taking a precious photo under the night sky, Masahiko returns home and submits his resignation. But his boss refuses to let him leave quietly. On Masahiko's final day, the store will hold a farewell ceremony to honor his decades of work. Most major things are now settled. Then Masahiko finds old home videos. Hitomi comes home and sees him watching them. In the video, she is a little girl, and her mother is still alive. The family is happy together, promising to watch the footage again when Hitomi grows up. Now, only father and daughter remain. Soon, Hitomi may be alone. She brings up his condition. She happened to meet Abo at her aunt's flower shop and learned how serious things have become. She knows Masahiko rushed the camping trip because he feared he might not be able to finish that wish later. She is afraid too. What will she do when her father is no longer beside her? Masahiko comforts her. Even when he is gone, her aunt and everyone else will be with her. His daughter will never be alone. His words warm her heart. Late that night, Hitomi tells her mother about the happiness she has now. Then she receives a call from Kazuma. After days with no contact, he says he wants to hold his own comedy performance. He has made his decision. Hitomi is truly happy for him. On the day of the show, she attends with Masahiko. When they arrive, they discover the only guests are the three of them. Kazuma created this performance as a formal confession of both his dream and his love. What begins as a comedy show becomes a warm and emotional declaration. Kazuma and Hitomi stand together and ask Masahiko to approve their marriage. This time, Masahiko does not refuse, but he gives Kazuma one condition. Kazuma must work hard to support this family. No matter how difficult the dream becomes, and no matter how hard life gets, he must never let Hitomi and Ryunosuke suffer. That is a father's greatest and only demand of his future son-in-law. The wedding can finally be planned again. This time, Hitomi decides the wedding should be centered around Masahiko. The good news spreads quickly, and everyone is happy for Hitomi and Kazuma. Kishida even volunteers to be the wedding MC, but joy and sadness always arrive together. Masahiko's body is now much worse. He can no longer keep working until the original date and must leave the supermarket early. His boss understands, but still insists on giving him a farewell ceremony. Before that, he gives Masahiko one final mission, a weekend sales event for a new product. This will be Masahiko's last event at the company. Masahiko, who loves his work, accepts immediately. But he does not want Hitomi to attend because he worries that seeing her will distract him. Hitomi agrees and gives him the wedding invitation. This is their most important promise. She wants him to stay alive and see her in her wedding dress. Now that Hitomi's future has been decided, Masahiko secretly meets Kazuma. This time, he does not mock him. He speaks as a father and formally entrusts his daughter to him. Whatever the future brings, he believes Kazuma can make Hitomi happy. Kazuma, who is sensitive and emotional, cannot hold back his tears. This is the greatness of a father. Even as he prepares to leave, Masahiko is still trying to smooth the road ahead for his daughter. After entrusting Hitomi to Kazuma, Masahiko changes his mind about the sales event. He wants Hitomi to see him at work, at his most passionate and alive. Because of Hitomi's own work, she arrives just as the event is almost over. When she sees her father fighting through pain while calling out to customers, she remembers something from high school. Back then, she was embarrassed by the way he sold things so loudly and pretended not to know him. Now she understands. This father is the coolest man in the world. Every call he shouted was part of his effort to support their life and build his daughter's future. She takes out her camera and records him. After the event, the farewell ceremony begins. With the ceremony over, Masahiko says goodbye to the place that carried decades of his sweat. His work is done, but he still has two wishes left. One is to open the time capsule he buried long ago. The other is to learn English in his final days. He keeps the reason for studying English a secret. As the wedding planning begins, Masahiko also knows his funeral is approaching. He secretly meets Kishida and says he wants the funeral to feel like a party. He even chooses a ridiculous portrait photo to make everyone laugh. Still, he cannot stop thinking about the time capsule. Because his body is too weak, Hitomi and Kazuma video call him while they search. But when they reach Masahiko's old elementary school, they find it has been abandoned. The tree where the capsule was buried is behind an iron fence. It seems impossible to retrieve. Masahiko has to give up. Before that, he has already written down inheritance matters for his insurance and house in his life notebook. Since he worries he may not survive until the wedding, he asks his sister to give the information to Hitomi if needed. His sister listens to his casual tone with a heavy heart. No matter what, she hopes he will make it to that day. But just after saying this, Masahiko stands and suddenly collapses. Doctors discover that the cancer has spread to his lungs. Whether he can go home depends on several days of observation. Even in the hospital bed, Masahiko keeps thinking about the time capsule. Seeing how much it matters to him, Hitomi decides to be reckless for once. That night, Hitomi and Kazuma sneak into the old school. After a difficult search, they actually dig up the metal box under the tree. Then a flashlight hits their faces. Security has found them. The goal is right in front of them, and Kazuma refuses to let his future father-in-law's dream fail. He stays behind to stop the guard while Hitomi takes the box back. In the hospital, Masahiko opens the old time capsule. Inside are a toy car, 2 ordinary stones, and most importantly, a letter his childhood self wrote to his future self. The letter is full of wild childhood imagination, but the final line makes father and daughter ache. He wrote that he wanted to live to 100. That wish can no longer come true. Masahiko is still satisfied. Hitomi asks whether, if he could live again, he would choose the same life. For Masahiko, this life was already his greatest happiness. He had a beautiful wife and a lovely daughter. These 2 women were the greatest gifts of his life. How could he ask for more? Then Hitomi suddenly remembers Kazuma is still back at the school and rushes out. After she leaves, Masahiko makes a phone call in awkward English. He asks someone named Kate whether the matter from before has been arranged. Kate is also on the funeral guest list. When Masahiko later comes home, he gives Hitomi the list. She notices the foreign name immediately and asks who Kate is. Masahiko claims Kate is just an ordinary friend. Hitomi does not press further because the wedding is entering its final preparations. She has thrown out the earlier plan and decided to make the wedding a party, inviting all their close friends and family. The day before the wedding, Hitomi and the others go to a shrine and pray that nothing will go wrong. Abo also comes to examine Masahiko at home. Thankfully, Masahiko is stable. Abo congratulates him and says he is looking forward to the big day for all three of them. Masahiko pauses at that wording. Abo quickly explains that he misspoke. Clearly, Hitomi is secretly planning something. Several times, Masahiko almost catches on, but Kazuma's news distracts him. Kazuma's comedy performance has gone viral online, and his career is slowly getting on track. That night, Masahiko asks Hitomi to cancel the part of the wedding where the daughter reads a letter to her father. He does not want the mood to become too heavy. But Hitomi has already written pages and pages of things she wants to say. She takes out the letter that night. Before she can even begin, both of them are already holding back tears. Masahiko prefers her smile to sadness, so instead, he tells her about the day she was born. When Hitomi was a baby, her eyes were large and bright, as if they held the brightest stars in the world and could see all the beauty around her. He wanted her to grow up with those sincere eyes, so he gave her that name. That wish came true. His angel grew from a crying newborn into a beautiful woman. What parent does not want their child to grow up healthy? Hitomi growing up well was the first and greatest gift she gave her parents. It was also their greatest comfort. With the first light of morning, Hitomi wakes early. To surprise Masahiko, she prepares breakfast and hurries out. When Masahiko steps outside in his wedding clothes, he sees the most beautiful bride in the world. Hitomi stands there in a white wedding dress. Not far away is the ceremony site that their friends and family prepared overnight. It is the road father and daughter have walked together since she was small. Masahiko once held her hand along this path. Now he will walk it one more time and hand her toward a new future. He gives Hitomi's hand to Kazuma. In front of everyone, the couple exchange vows and rings. When it is time for the kiss, Masahiko still jokes from below. Kazuma is too shy to kiss Hitomi properly in front of his son and father-in-law, so he gently kisses her forehead instead. The wedding ends in a simple, warm atmosphere. But the surprise is not over. Hitomi has prepared a gift for Masahiko. She has gathered photographs of their life together and created an exhibition. She pushes him through the gallery, and every image brings back another memory. Then comes another ceremony. Everyone from Masahiko's funeral guest list has been invited. Today is not only Hitomi's wedding, it is also Masahiko's farewell ceremony while he is still alive. In this spring, father and daughter are both beginning new journeys. Hitomi believes Masahiko must have many things he wants to say. When he speaks, the atmosphere becomes lively instead of heavy. Then Kate, the person he secretly contacted, appears. Long ago, Masahiko heard Kate perform on the street. He began learning English because he wanted to invite Kate to write and perform a song for his funeral. As the gentle music begins, the sadness in the room softens. Everyone is moved by the moment. After the song, guests take turns performing, and the farewell ceremony comes to an end. Masahiko feels deeply satisfied with everything these 3 months have brought him. He may be the one leaving first, but his life feels complete. His ending is also the beginning of his daughter's future. The applause fills the room. Words are no longer enough. If life could pause, maybe this is the moment Masahiko would choose. Spring arrives as promised. The cold wind fades. Cherry blossoms begin to bloom. Father and daughter look at the beauty together. It is also Hitomi's birthday. Masahiko has not forgotten. He gives her the final birthday greeting of his life, but the day of parting still comes. The flowers bloom, the snow melts, and Masahiko leaves with the passing winter. Hitomi places both her own wish list and her father's into the small metal box. From her aunt, she receives the disc Masahiko secretly left behind, meant for Hitomi to watch when she becomes a mother. Late at night, Hitomi puts the disc into the player. The video shows her mother's labor. Cries of pain mix with the sound of a newborn baby, announcing Hitomi's arrival in the world. Her mother is in agony, yet the moment she sees her child, her face fills with happiness. The video cuts off before Hitomi's face appears. Even so, the entire image is filled with love for her. A parent's love is quiet, like mist and rain. Even after death, it keeps echoing in the hearts of their children. As Masahiko said, Hitomi and Kazuma's future is only beginning. They will continue living through spring after spring. The arrival of spring welcomes new life, but it also means some lives return to nature. Flowers fall and flowers bloom again. Human life is the same, moving between withering and blooming. When loved ones leave, the love they leave behind must be picked up by those who remain. We witness new life in this world, and we cannot avoid witnessing the end of life too. Between those arrivals and departures, we slowly understand the weight of being alive. No matter what sorrow or joy we pass through, we should not forget this. When spring comes, meet the future with a smile. That is where the story ends. That's all for today's drama recap. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like, comment, and share. I'll see you in the next one.